surroundings look as good as the interior of the building here at the Big A. We are set off and running Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider. Just a pleasant Saturday afternoon out here in South Ozone Park, Queens. When you think of the fall meet at Aqueduct, these are the kind of days you think and remember. Perfect. We're glad you're with us. Richard Migliori, Jason Blewett alongside, second floor Clubhouse Studios. And place was rocking, my friend, and we all saw the end of the graded stakes season on the Naira turf.
Yeah, and we weren't disappointed. It was a terrific race. I mean, we're going to get to watch it and talk about the ride, which I thought made a huge difference in the outcome. But it was a picture-perfect day. Crisp, cold, but clear, and we had some great races.
Fast and good, 9 in all, and some big races out of town as well. We check out the action, and they had plenty of stakes on the Saturday program down at Laurel. It is the DeFrancis Dash. How about Zebros resurrecting himself for D. Wayne Lucas, a powerhouse win at about 30 to 1.
And it was a powerhouse win, and he just took it to them, outran them at every point of call. A little surprising that he was able to make the lead as readily as he is. Now, I know he's fast, but there was some other speed in there, and he just didn't even entertain the thought of letting anybody outrun him. 108 and change. Pretty strong performance.
Alex Centron aboard a horse who is soon to be 5 in about a month and a half, but as a 3-year-old, I mean, at least first half of 2013, he was mentioned with the best 3-year-old sprinters in the country.
Well, actually, there was a change of rider because Alex Centron was injured, and Jose Ortiz was supposed to ride La Verdad.
Right.
She scratched. He picked up the winner.
Oh,
so
wow.
Sometimes you're just meant to win those races, and unfortunately, Alex Citron's going to be out a little while, but nice to see one of our own homeboys, Jose Ortiz, go down and get the money.
And with Holiday Fest right around the corner, do you see D. Wayne Lucas for the Zayat stables bring Zebros up here maybe Thanksgiving Day in the Fall Highway for $300K? Or maybe try a mile in the Cigar Mile for at least $500,000.
I think the prudent thing to do is come back going 6 furlongs. I think he's proven that he wants to sprint. I don't see him getting a mile, especially in a top flight company like we're going to get in the Cigar Mile. But I've seen Wayne Lucas pull off some miraculous things. Take Charge Brandy in the Breeders' Cup comes to mind. And today, another long shot for Wayne.
First ever win in the DeFrancis Dash for Mr. Lucas. And speaking of the competition or potential lineup for the Cigar Mile, 2 horses are dropping out of the Breeders' Cup Sprint, both with West Coast ties. We have got Private Zone, who ran a big race in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Same could be said for Secret Circle, who was the runner-up, and they were both behind Work All Week.
Yeah, and we saw last year Private Zone run really well in the Cigar Mile. Just not quite good enough, but he ran a big race here, flattened out a little bit late, and he seems to me like a horse almost kind of runs a good one and then an okay one, and a good one and an okay one. And I actually thought his Breeders' Cup was okay. I don't think it was his best effort. I thought his Vosburg was better than that. So it'd be interesting to see if he does come back this way, if he rebounds with that A effort.
Well, he was second in the Cigar Mile last year behind Flat Out at 32 to 1. And I was of the impression, along with the crowd, there's no way he can stay a mile. And he ran really well in defeat. And for Secret Circle, if Bob Baffert, and it sounds like he's coming here, A, the horse will be running for $1 million because he's a former Breeders' Cup winner with 2 Breeders' Cup wins, in fact. And Bob Baffert knows what it takes to win that race. He's won it 3 times.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's another horse, still has more of that sprinter-type build to me, and I just think a mile stretching his speed out a little too far. There's others in there I'll prefer.
We stretch things out, actually, on this show. 1 mile and 3 furlongs is where we begin. The 55th running of the Red Smith, named for the famed turf rider of yesteryear. They go 3 turns. They've got John Abrial to call the action, and here he is down the backside the first time.
Now moving up is Legendary. In between horses is Micromanage. As the field goes for the far turn the first time, Micromanage now goes to the front with Legendary in second and Margano back running in third. Calvados is in fourth. On the outside is Managar in fifth. Length and a half to Dynamic Sky Racing in sixth. Can't Help Believing is in seventh. The field now comes into the stretch. It's Micromanage leading Legendary. Margano on the inside runs in third. And Calvados is next in fourth, and the gray, gelding, Managar in fifth by a head. Dynamic Sky is sixth. St. Albans Boy. And on the outside, it's Unitarian. In between horses, Can't Help Believing. And Big Blue Kitten is 10th and last, about a dozen lengths from the lead. as the field goes into the clubhouse turn. Micromanage on the lead here. Micromanage 3/4 of a length. Legendary is racing in second. Margano in a good spot there down towards the inside in third, with Calvados alongside in fourth. And a break of 3 back to Manigar in fifth. Then it's Dynamic Sky and Unitarian, followed by St. Albans Boy. Big Blue Kitten has moved up a spot. Can't Help Believing is now the trailer. They're midway up the back stretch. Micromanage challenged here by Legendary. It's Micromanage on the inside and Legendary on the outside. It's a length to Calvados in third. Margano runs in fourth. Then comes Manigar in fifth, followed by Dynamic Sky. Unitarian is now gaining ground on the outside. Then St. Albans Boy, Big Blue Kitten still at the back with Can't Help Believing. And the field is coming for the head of the stretch. Micromanage has dropped out of it. Legendary has the lead as they head for home. Legendary in front by almost 3. Then it's Margano, Calvados, Dynamic Sky looks to rally down at the rail, and now they're closing in. Here comes Dynamic Sky. Here comes Margano on the outside. Legendary back in third, and here's Big Blue Kitten who arrives on the scene, but arrives on the scene late. Dynamic Sky in front, Big Blue Kitten second. Dynamic Sky wins the Red Smith handicap. Big Blue Kitten was second, and Margano finished third.
A little bit of retribution off the Canadian International as Dynamic Sky is able to turn the tables on Big Blue Kitten.
Yeah, with a absolutely perfect ride and a perfect trip. And Cornelio Velasquez, he always rides well. He's one of the most consistent performers we have, and I just think he's taken his game to another level. And you could see he was intent on getting through, and he timed his run perfect. So where the gap came, he was able to duck into that extra little space. And, of course, he had the horse to take advantage of it. But Cornelio Velasquez's ride absolutely made the difference.
And he's a guy riding at the top of his game, a 3-time Aqueduct jockey titles winner of the past. Well on his way to a 4th fall win here, hands down. He has got a big lead in the rider standings, which we'll check out a bit later in the show. Runner-up Big Blue Kitten had a lot to do. At one point, at least up through the quarter pole, was following Dynamic Sky, but opted to go outside.
He was right in by Dynamic Sky, and it looked like maybe, in hindsight, and it's easy to say sitting here at the desk, if you stay in behind him when he makes the hole, maybe you find your way out. He kind of angled out and kind of got stymied in traffic and then was looking for a space, finally shook free late. Maybe with a different trip, it's much closer, but Dynamic Sky was very good on the day.
It's good to see John Oxley and Mark Casse ship one down. They rarely, for the most part, run on this circuit, but clearly looking north of the border, I mean, they are big fish. Don't want to call it a small pond, but they are two of the major players up at Woodbine.
Well, they are major players, and Mark Casse's already had somewhat of a breakout year in this respect. He hadn't won a Queen's Plate yet. He finally won one this year, and talking with him over the summer, he says he will win an American Classic, Derby, Preakness, or Belmont within the next few years.
Well, we like guys that aim high. Certainly got a guy with a lot of money behind him in John Oxley, and the Red Smith, the 55th running goes to them as the graded turf season came to a close. And we've got Catherine Sullivan. Almost forgot the post-race interview. She's filling in for Mark Casse, and let's see what went down.
I'm here with Catherine Sullivan, assistant trainer to Mark Casse, and Dynamic Sky got a beautiful run up the inside. You better be pretty happy when you saw the rail open.
Oh, I was. I thought he had a great ride. Cornelia rode him just perfectly, timed it perfectly.
It seems like he's had a hard time finding the winner's circle this year, only one win by disqualification, so it's nice to kind of cap off the season, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's been running so well and improving with each race. He just hasn't quite got there, and he really deserved to win this race, so we're just thrilled.
Mark's been training for the Oxleys now for a while. How long have you been with Mark?
I've been with Mark 6 years now.
And it seems like every year Mark's improving his stable. He won the Queen's Plate this year, and now this year you guys have horses in California as well.
Yeah, we're growing each year, and Mark's, like, he's from the South. He has all these sayings, and if you stand still, you get run over. So he's always trying to build and improve, and the goal is always to improve on last year. So we've had a great year, and hopefully it sets us up even better next year.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Good to see the assistant trader, Catherine Sullivan, getting some headlines, and she was the one that put the saddle and put the tack on Dynamic Sky. Nice win in the Red Smith.
Well, any of these trainers that have multiple divisions and have horses spread out, actually Mark over 2 countries, you need good help, and you need to be able to trust them to pull off what you're looking for them to do in the mornings and obviously when you run them in the afternoons.
All right, let's get to a bit earlier in this card. Race number 5, in fact, on this 9-race program. John and Brielle will have the call. We'll keep it right here at the Big A, and we are back to our other turf race on the card.
It'll do you good. Broke out just a bit at the start and does trail the field. Mock Egan and Grilly Pack. It's Mogagan with the lead over Grilly Pack. Then it's a gap of 5 lengths back to a Boston Strong, Iced Over, and the Blue Chips Only. They're followed by Down Goes Frazier, who's racing in 6th. Runaway Posse on the inside in 7th. Then Mr. Dooley in 8th, followed by Nush's Tail. Change Will Do You Good is the trailer in 10th. They're on the backstretch. The quarter went in 23 seconds over this yielding turf. Mogagan on the outside leads by a length. Grilly Pack in 2nd. Huge break. 8 or 9 lengths. Back to Boston Strong in 3rd. To his inside, Iced Over in 4th. Then Blue Chips Only running in 5th, followed by Down Goes Frazier. On the outside is a Mr. Dooley. Runaway Posse is down at the rail. Then Nush's Tail and Change Will Do You Good continues to run last as the field goes around the far turn. Mogagan has opened up here. The half went in 46 and 4. Mogagan's in front by a dozen lengths as they come for the top of the stretch. Then it's Grilly Pack, Boston Strong, and Iced Over. Mogagan all by himself as they come through the stretch. Mogagan in front. The lead is 8 lengths. Runaway Posse moves up on the outside. Nush's Tail towards the rail. Mogagan is tiring and tiring badly. Here comes Nush's Tail. Nush's Tail goes by Mogagan. Runaway Posse on the outside. Nush's Tail pulls off the upset at 19-1. Runaway Posse.
On a day when favorites were just going up in smoke from one race to another, Nush's Tail takes advantage of that hot pace, skims the rail, and he's up in time in the 5th.
And it was an extremely hot pace for yielding ground as Mogagan kind of got away from jockey Fernando Yara, ran off to a long lead, and looked like he might even still hang on, but it was an absolutely beautiful, perfect ride by Israel Rodriguez, saving every inch of ground, coming out when he needed to, and it was nice to see Pat Kelly in the winner's circle.
He's been a long-time client and customer of Fox Ridge Farm. They team up with this homebred son of Tail the Cat. The unsung hero of the day goes to Mogagan, though. That was a huge, huge third-place finish with the fast pace, and we keep the pace going after a quick rest on this Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider. Stay tuned with us on MSG+. 15% takeout, Aqueduct Pick 5, available on the first 5 races, every single racing card here at Aqueduct. Live racing days at the Big A, a $31,000 payout today for 50 cents. Tell you the sky's the limit, and you get some serious bang for your buck in that Pick 5.
50-cent bet returns that. That's got to be a thrill of a lifetime, even if you're alive going into the last one.
$31K. We do have that Pick 6 carryover of a little more than $27,000 into the Sunday card. Some good 2-year-old races tomorrow for open company horses and the state breds as Jason and the MIG welcome you back on Aqueduct Insider. It's race number 8. We hit the main track for the first time on this show. Same track announcer, John Ariel, with the call of this New York Bred Allowance race.
And they're off. And they all came away to a good start. Key in Motion from the rail. Leroy Jr. moves up and takes second. It's Key in Motion by a length. Leroy Jr. runs in second, and Mighty Zealous is next in third. Then on the outside, Captain Taze is fourth. Man of Mystery down at the rail is Saltine Warrior. Flows Greatness is seventh, and thanks to my uncle, is in eighth, and thanks to my uncle, has dropped pretty far back here as they go around the turn. The quarter went in 22 and 2. Key in Motion on the inside and Leroy Jr. on the outside. They're heads apart for the lead. They've opened up 4 lengths on Mighty Zealous and Captain Taze. Then it's Saltine Warrior in fifth, followed by Man of Mystery and Flows Greatness, and thanks to my uncle, still at the back. The field is at the top of the stretch. Leroy Jr., Key in Motion, and Mighty Zealous on the outside. Leroy Jr., here comes Mighty Zealous. Mighty Zealous to challenge Leroy Jr. The two right together inside the 8th pole. Mighty Zealous and Leroy Jr. And now there's a 16th to the finish, and thanks to my uncle, who was so far back, has rallied into third. They come down for the wire. It's going to be a head bob between Leroy Jr. and Mighty Zealous. Thanks to my uncle from far back.
Manny Franco, a big Saturday here. The hat trick, getting his third on the afternoon. Leroy Jr., very game. A bit green, was coming out. Manny goes lefty, But you know what? Very game in the victory. It's Leroy Jr.
Yeah, well, Leroy Jr., I think, was being pointed out by Manny Franco, and he got away with it, and it worked. I mean, to me, that was good, hard race riding, and this is one of his biggest attributes, how strong he finishes. For a young rider to look that good coming down to the wire in a tight finish, you got to give him a lot of credit. But I thought he came out a couple times where maybe it should have been looked at.
Well, let's take a look. And you can see, as you pointed out, Manny Franco had Leroy Jr.'s head cocked to the left side there, you see, and it's Taylor Rice alongside with the number 5, Mighty Zealous.
Yeah, and right there they made some contact, they brushed, and maybe there wouldn't have been a change, and it would have been, you know, something to look at, because he's going to come out again a second time in here, and when a horse gets beat, you know, less than a head, I mean, a half a head, I think it's something that you do have to look at. But he obviously, there was intention there, but that's good, hard race riding.
Close win photo. Boy, oh boy. I didn't think it was that tight watching the race live, but that was close to a dead heat. And a good effort as well for the 5 Mighty Zealous for Linda Rice, because she was a gelding, or he was a gelding, excuse me. That's my pet peeve. A gelding coming off a layoff dating back to June 8th, and a very good effort against a 9-5 shot.
Huge effort, and looked like he was going to get it done, and then he was outgamed, but coming off a layoff since June, obviously a very good job for Linda to have him that prepared, because that was a really good horse race.
And Linda actually went on to win the last race with a half to La Verdad, who galloped away as a much the best winner, Hot City Girl, second time out. And there's some talk with La Verdad scratching down in Maryland today. She's looking at the fall high weight for that filly. $300,000 purse. She'll get it a bit light. What do you think of that?
I love fillies running the fall high weight. They do get a break in the weights, and we've seen some fillies, What a Summer, Honorable Miss come to mind. Obviously, this was back in the late 70s, that had great success in that race. I like it.
Holiday Fest, a series not to be missed, just a couple weeks out. 14 days, in fact, from the Cigar Mile as we get back to what else shook out on day number 16.
At the top of the stretch together. Then it's Joking. Nonstop has retreated in 4th. Moonluck now with the lead here. Moonluck in front, coming down for the 8th pole. Joking now takes 2nd. Street Shark is back in 3rd. Small Town Talk up to 4th. Moonluck is the leader. Joking getting closer now. Moonluck and Joking wins at the end by a length. Love to Run has been in front right from the start. Abilio's getting closer on the outside, and MJ Plus is rallying down at the rail as they move for the 8th pole. Love to Run, Abilio, Moman on the outside, MJ Plus down at the rail. Then Raptoro, now a 16th to the finish, and now MJ Plus takes the lead. Raptoro continues to rally on the inside. Here's Moman on the outside. They come down for the wire. Moman and MJ Plus. Those two, they're at the top of the stretch. The half went in 47-4. Chasing Bubbles, Wild Freud towards the rail. Zivaye on the outside. Then Leverage and Jacopo. Leverage is coming on now. Chasing Bubbles, chased here by Leverage. And on the far outside, it's Jacopo. Inside the 16th pole, Chasing Bubbles, Leverage. Leverage leads and wins it by a neck. Leverage over Chasing Bubbles. It was close for 3rd. Tummel, Shankopotamus. Tummel has the lead now. Bobby V is on the outside. Shankopotamus towards the rail. Then Summit County and Good Harbor. Tummel in front and trying to hold off Bobby V with a 16th in the finish. Tummel on the inside. Bobby V on the outside. Tummel in front. Bobby V second. And it's going to be that way under the line. Tummel takes it. Bobby V was second. Shankopotamus finished 3rd. In front with Over the Speed Limit in 2nd. And Call Daddy towards the rail in 3rd. Whatever You Want. Call Daddy in 2nd and gaining down on the inside. Over the Speed Limit is 3rd. Whatever You Want. Challenged here by Call Daddy. Whatever You Want. Call Daddy. The two of them are right together as they come down for the wire. Whatever You Want. Call Daddy. Whatever You Want. Believe he got it by a head. A photo finish. Whatever You Want. Spirit in between horses. And Jenny Love there in the stretch. 3/4 went in 1:14-1. Hot City Girl with the lead over End on a High Note. Stolen Victory is in 3rd. And the rest of them are strung out here as they come down for the finish. It's Hot City Girl, and she's got a commanding lead as they come for the finish. Hot City Girl won by a half dozen lengths. And on a high note, held second. Stolen Victory was third. Farther back, Summon the Spirit fourth.
No photo needed for the last race, but there were a number of close finishes on today's card. Johnny I and some of the riders here in the county really earned their money on a crowded Saturday at the Big A. And what a dramatic finish as we get back to race number 2. Very emotional win all around with Mo-Man. I tell you, I was so pleased to see this horse get up for Winning Move Stables. And we think of the Sigler family, and I just love Marcelo, Gary's assistant, with the this win is for Adam sign.
Yeah, there's nothing that can ease the pain that family's experiencing right now, and our hearts and prayers go out to that family. Some things are just not fair.
You feel like Manny Franco had some company there throughout the entire race, maybe an angel sitting on his shoulder, and Mo-Man just would not be denied. But we're certainly thinking about Adam Sigler as we take a look at the rider standings. A big day once again for Manny Franco. Swept the early double, did it in the first for Charlton Baker, came back for Winning Move in the contested barn in race 2. Had a race for Chad Brown a bit later in the afternoon, but Cornelia Velasquez walked away with a pretty good afternoon too.
Another multiple win day for Cornelio Velasquez. It seems like every day is a multiple win day for Cornelio, just firing it on all cylinders, and it's fun to watch. I like a guy that doesn't probably get the credit he deserves sometimes, finally getting his due.
Checks in defeat for David Jacobson. I think that was the main story, at least early on today, because David in the first 4 races had 3 favorites, 2 at even money, 1 at 7 to 5, and they all ran well, but all finished second.
Well, but he's getting checks, and they're all running well, and I think that's all a trainer can do. He can prepare the horses, get them there, and then you need racing luck and good rides and things to bounce your way. But I think a lot of things have been bouncing David's way.
2 turf, 7 on the main. What about the claim box via the racing office? Let's see what happened on day number 15. Well, speaking of David Jacobson, he had the drop-down Bobby V in race number 4. Had no excuse running second, but a popular item.
A 9-way shake that Patrick Quick wins, and we had 3 horses claimed out of that. 10,000 seems to be a very popular claiming price. I think people can justify, well, we can take a shot for 10 if things don't work out as well as we'd like.
Yeah, you're not going to get hurt bad for 10 G's. Best of luck to those 3 claims. And we take our final time out on Aqueduct Insider. It's a Sunday preview with the Mig and I, so stay tuned on MSG+. That main track, the chute, the clubhouse turn in tip-top shape, sealed, packed down. We'll get training action underway at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. I will not be going out with the first set. We'll be here with all of you, though, the Mig and I tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. will be the post time for our show on Aqueduct Insider. And I think this is a Sunday card, Mig, that has something for everybody.
It's a great card. I really thought this was a very strong card and very competitive races. Certainly nothing to be embarrassed about.
Absolutely. 2-year-olds. To kick off the card, 2-year-old fillies, in fact. Ring Knocker, who chased By the Moon and Top Decile. She begins the card in the first race, but we've got a high-quality turf allowance in the third. Break-even analysis, red cap splitting horses for Chad Brown.
He looked like he was going to get it done, and notice his running style. Kind of runs with his head down and out. I got to tell you from experience, it's very tiring for a rider when a horse runs with their head so far out and down. Just kind of wear you out, but he ran on. Doesn't seem to have a huge turn of foot, more kind of a grinding style.
Bigger turn of foot for Ironicus, who's last in the white cap with the red sleeves. A very good comeback race for this horse closing day at Belmont.
A huge comeback race and really ran on. Never really been in a position to win the race, but came on strongly. You think this horse can run that race back or even push it forward a little bit. He's probably have a lot to say about the outcome tomorrow.
Second off the layoff for Shug McGahee, who had a nice turf winner yesterday in Party Now, and I think this is a horse who's going to be a force to be reckoned with a pedigree that screams, the older I get, the better off I will be. Los Barachos for Bill Mott kept some good company upstate on the spot turf.
He did keep some good company. Might complain about Los Barachos, and I go back to this all the time. When I see a horse that has as many seconds as this horse does, 4 seconds and only 1 win, it just starts making you feel like they just don't have that killer instinct, or they're a horse that's prone to finding trouble and they just don't get it done. I want to see horses string together wins, or at least have more wins than seconds.
Well, looking at that pick 6 carryover tomorrow of 27,000 plus, it's a sequence that gets underway in race 4. Some may look at it as a pick 5 due to the presence of the horse in race 6, who looks like a real good one in Liam's map.
Liam's Map. This was a spectacular maiden breaking effort here. He looked like a stake horse here, and I'd be surprised if stakes aren't too far away in his future. He gets everything, going for him, too. I mean, he's drawn towards the outside, which is always an advantage going a mile, and I don't think he needs any advantages tomorrow.
Number of good-looking, late-developing 3-year-olds. We saw a bunch here, Breeders' Cup Saturday in the Discovery. Liam's Map, I think every bit as good, and looking forward to seeing him tomorrow and a bit later in the program. Race number 8 is for the state-bred 2-year-olds. It is the co-feature on the afternoon. Some horses dropping out of the Sleepy Hollow on Showcase Day in Good Luck Gus and Bullheaded Boy.
Yeah, Good Luck Gus really ran well to finish as well as he did to Australic. Am I saying that properly?
Australenka, yeah.
Okay, Australenka.
Who's bound for the Remsen.
And I think's a special horse. I think he's better than just a New York bred. Bullheaded Boy, I expected more from him, and he just really hasn't kind of developed off his maiden win. He's going to have to show me that he is as good as I thought he might be in his first start.
Earlier in that Showcase Day card, in fact, race number 1, and it was close at 1-5 for the most part. Tiz Quick, yellow cap off the maiden win.
It was close, but I don't think the margin of victory here really tells the whole tale. I think Joel Rosario had it pretty well measured. I don't think he used this horse more than necessary, and I think Tiz Quick will actually like the fact that there's enough pace for him to run out. I do think there's strong pace possibly in this race tomorrow.
And one of those potential pace horses, your point is well taken, Mig, is Regal Minister, who, I mean, was under the gun, vied hard, ran hard every step of the way, but pulled it out at 23-1.
He did not want to be passed. He had challenges inside, outside. He was in between. It looked like he had to get caught, and then he kept finding, obviously, a horse that has a lot of determination. Now, what does this effort do to him, though? Does it make him go backwards, or does it make him go forwards?
He did win for a trader that rarely has his firsters cranked up in Mark Hennig, who's been on a good run, and that leads me to believe there's a good chance he may take a step forward, but he's going to have to. It's that good a field.
Well, he'll need to take a step forward, but I agree with you. Mark Hennig's horses have been running well, and I think when a barn gets good, you got to give their horses another look.
Well, speaking of looking good, it's Andy Serling with the Sunday Preview.
Sunday's 6th race is an excellent allowance race, and it features the return of Liam's Map, a very promising maiden breaker for trainer Todd Pletcher. And I have no argument that Liam's Map is the horse to beat, but I also think he's going to be dramatically overbet in this race. And for what it's worth, Todd Pletcher's numbers with recent maiden winners in New York coming back are not particularly as strong, especially for older horses. And I think he's got significant competition to his outside in the number 6 Round. Round disappointed last time, no doubt about it, and he really didn't have an excuse, per se. But he did put a bar shoe on, and I don't know if the bar shoe will be on again, but it was a muddy track last time, and I think that bar shoes might be tougher in muddy tracks. And on a fast track, I trust he's going to run a better race, and there is no rain forecast, so I'm hoping that we'll have a fast track, and I think Round has a real chance to beat Liam's Map, and he's going to be a better price than he probably should be, as Liam's Map will be dramatically overbet. The number 6 Round hopefully gets the money in an interesting 6th race on Sunday.
Don't forget that 6th race. Looks like a great battle between Liam's Map and Round. Speaking of great battles, let's go Rangers against the Penguins tonight. The Mig and I, we see you tomorrow right here with that Pick 6 carryover on Aqueduct Insider.